other sexual orientation, people with more money, basically anyone different from you. But the good thing is that you won't have to hate them on your own. You'll make plenty of like-minded friends, because you'll be in the majority. So think about it. The world's a much brighter place when you're not too bright for it.
God.
Yes.
Just when I thought there was a red pill and a blue pill, now we have a
new pill.
Oh my God. And that's like kind of white and grayish or something?
Doesn't matter what color it is. It's the effect it has on your mind.
I'm really confused now, and I haven't even taken a pill.
Well, okay.
Minus IQ.
Well, speaking of mental health, here we are with Dennis Chadbourne now, a homeopath. And Dennis, great to have you back on the show.
So Dennis, should we be taking those pills?
I'm sorry?
Should we be taking that pill?
I think you should take it if you think you need it.
Okay. That's the problem. You can't think.
Well, you know what I think? If I can
why?
think for a minute. I think people should really start to take responsibility for their own health, their own physical, mental health, and then make the decisions about how they want to do the best for them, whether that's seeing their their regular doctor or a homeopathic practitioner or a naturopath,
That's right. Well, pharmaceuticals are built on the business model of need. So if the individual needs something, coffee,
I need
tea,
coffee.
drugs, alcohol, whatever it is, there's a need, and there's a business set up for it.
Well, somebody told me, I think another homeopath actually told me that at one time the whole health system in Ontario and probably all over North America was homeopathic based, and that the what do they call that, allopathic medicine took over in I don't know, the 20s or the 30s or something like that.
Yeah,
and we accept it as the way it's always been.
Yeah. Well, it's always there was a lot of homeopaths that were medical doctors. We had homeopathic hospitals here.
Yeah.
The advent of medicine during the wars, the Great Wars, is really when more revenue was generated and put into pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
Because there was a great need for very fast action.
Well, and I guess the antibiotics, when that came out, that was a revolution, saved an awful lot of lives, and it said, look, we have a magic bullet in a way that can instantly save like thousands of people.
Right.
And so with that kind of not magic thinking, but that kind of like scientific, we can develop these super effective, essentially magic bullets. It permeated the culture as a whole.
Yeah, pharmaceutical is not really something that people should avoid. In a healthy body, pharmaceuticals should be used. It's just how it's used. If your body's not performing well, then you're going to need more of it.
Yeah.
And if your body's in distress, over time the pharmaceuticals aren't going to work, and they'll have to transfer you into a different type of medication.
So so what you're saying is we're becoming dependent on them.
Well, dependency.
Or codependent, maybe.
There is a dependency on it, yes. There is a dependency from both sides. There's a dependency from the pharmaceutical that need the people to use it.
Yeah.
Hence, making progress. Pharmaceuticals have come a tremendous way in the last 50 years. They do an amazing job in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But they're not meant for long-term use.
Well, and I think it's gone a little bit too far. People think that that's the only solution now.
Yeah.
And they end up taking umpteen different medications, and nobody's really keeping track of whether there's interactions.
Yes.
I mean,
that's
this has
a really
happened
good
to people in my family.
Yeah.
And, then those drugs can cause serious damage to the kidneys and other organs in the body. So let's talk about mental health, and specifically a homeopathic approach to mental health today.
Again, we're talking about the program that I'm running. Mental health, to me, and what I've observed with people going through the process, is that it's just about symptoms. It's no different than an aching knee or an earache or difficulty to breathe. They're all symptoms. Mental health is about accumulation of symptoms. And The key is that we have to reinterpret mental health. Mental health needs to be reinterpreted in a way of why it's there and how it got there. Were you born with it? Was it something that was created through cause and effect? Or is it just something that comes with the disease state that's underlying in that individual?
So these are these three main areas you look at, or?
It's the three basic areas that you want to look at.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you see patterns, Dennis? Because, I mean, it can't be a coincidence that mental health is going through the roof or mental unhealth, I guess, mental illness is going through the roof right now. Everybody knows that Bell gave a ton of money to CAMH, I think. Bell Canada gave like $10 million to CAMH to help fund mental health.
To help people deal with their cell and their phone bills.
That's what's causing the mental health issues. No, but I mean, it's becoming very well recognized now that mental health issues are just soaring. It's probably one of the most rapidly increasing illnesses. So that can't be a coincidence so there must be something that's going on in society. I mean, it can't be a nature thing. You can't be born with that and then all of a sudden it's happening across the board. It seems to be happening everywhere. So I'm wondering, do you look at that? I'm thinking that there might be something to do with societal or maybe all the pressures.
Well, it's
the stress.
Everything. It really is. It's the speed of our society and us trying to keep up. It takes a lot of energy for us to keep up. So, if we run out of energy one day and we have a down day, everybody calls it depression. I don't think so. I think it's just normal. I think it's normal to go through ups and downs. It's when the downs
are more
or the ups are out of whack.
And that's a really good point, because I do know somebody who actually had the opposite problem. Instead of being depressed, they're always high. Always had super energy, and then he went to the doctors and was told this is not normal.
I want that.
Everybody wants that, but he was told it was not normal. And guess what? They gave him pills to bring him down, and now he's crashed. Now he's out of whack.
Right, he's out of balance. And why is that not normal? Why can't somebody be that high?
Yeah.
Yeah, and who are these doctors to say what's normal?
Well, it's not to blame. It's more about the understanding of it. We're just coming into an age where we're trying to understand what it is we're looking at.
They had a term for him too. They have a term for and he told me what this term was, and I can't remember it. But there actually is a term for someone like that.
Right.
Okay.
But why did he go to the doctor? Is the question. What about his condition, or why did he think he needed to go to the doctor for it? Because there was other things behind it.
Well, I think a lot of it had to do with family pressure.
Well,
yeah, I think it was actually more family than it was him.
He's probably living in a world that, hey, this is okay. There's nothing wrong with this.
But now he's been struggling ever since, big time struggling.
I think that now his body's out of whack.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what the Cure Me system is really about, is getting the body into whack and
into balance.
Into balance.
Yeah, sorry. That's what I meant. I mean, it almost seems, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's almost as if, like, why do we call like our mental health and physical health really two separate things? Or is it like it's just health, period?
It can't be.
Yeah.
It has to be the same thing.
Okay.
We eat, we get our nutrition, we are exposed to cause and effect daily. It has to be from the same process. We use the same materials. The body just dictates how it's done. If there's an imbalance out of something that the body isn't doing, then you're going to get a reaction or a symptom. And a symptom, for me, with Cure Me, the me is mind, emotion. So again,
mind, emotion.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the me
so
part.
the me part is mind, emotion.
Okay.
The cure, is the CURE. So basically, the last part of this is usually about mind, emotion.
Okay.
Okay, dealing with the balancing of the chemistry in the individual.
Okay. And so you're saying pretty much everything can be traced down to that, or can be rolled back down to that?
It's rolled back to that, but there's two ways of looking at mind, emotion.
Okay.
I'll have patients that come in that exhibit symptoms that are mind emotional, and I won't see any physical.
What kinds of symptoms are you talking? Can you give us an example?
You can go that they've been on antidepressants, or they've had some sort of depression from a cause and effect that in their life.
Okay. So in other words, it's not a physical, like it's not a cancer or a tumor or hives or anything like that. It's just strictly.
But it will. There is a physical realm that dictates why that is there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The both aren't. There's not just the mind emotion floating around here and the physical's down here. They both work. Once you clear out the mind emotion, then you see the physical side of you.
Right.
Then you see why that's there. And vice versa. If the physical person with physical symptoms comes in and you clear up the physical side, you'll see the mind emotional side.
Okay.
That's why you see people that are really, really like your friend, very, very outward going, expressive, because there's that type of thing going on. Whereas somebody that's kind of withdrawn will probably see a lot more of the physical stuff happening first.
Okay, so I always thought, Dennis, that it hit your mind emotion level first, and then if you ignored it, it would manifest into something physical.
Yeah,
Is that accurate?
There is a possibility, but it can work both ways.
Okay.
There is no set rule.
Okay.
It's about how that person, there's no right or wrong here. There's no up and down. It's just about how that individual is coping with their world.
Okay. Okay. So other than the mind emotional, how do you address the physical?
It's the same thing. I'm addressing all of it.
Okay. So you
It's
don't
like a holistic
distinguish.
approach, right?
Cure Me is about taking care of the individual's health.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if it's a physical, mental, emotion.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's the same thing for me.
Okay.
It's basically, we were talking before about taking 2 years. Well, taking 2 years is just getting the body to cooperate with itself again, identify itself. The other part of it is about healing. It's about the recovery of the body. Once you have a healthy body, you can recover everything.
Okay, so if I
Because the body heals itself essentially, right? If it's
It's our best
functioning,
tool.
yeah.
It's
So
so
you work-
complicated
Yeah.
that I couldn't tell you if somebody had a depression, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's impossible. There's billions and billions of processes in one day, let alone a week, a year, a month.
So So one person who's got depression,
Yeah.
the underlying causes for that could be completely different from another person suffering from depression.
Absolutely.
And this is the thing. This is like it seems to me that in the allopathic world, they treat the disease rather than treating the person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
and they treat the disease all the same. I mean, you talk about the uniqueness of the individual, and I think what they do is basically look at a textbook and say, okay, this person fits into this category and this category, so I will give him A, B, and C based on
Yeah.
what the book tells me to do. And there's reasons that they do that too, for liable reasons as well, legal reasons as well, right?
Well, yeah, liability is always going to play a part of it, but realistically, it's more about getting the individual healthy, so that they can go back to a normal way of living. All we want to do is live.
Yeah.
Live our life. That's it. And if
So-
there's something blocking us, we either figure out a way to get around it,
Mm-hmm.
and or it takes over us.
Yeah.
So does the Cure Me method, does it help people to eventually not need you anymore?
That's right.
Okay.
In the first part, it's about using homeopathic tools to force the body to react. You're always going like this. In the end, it's getting the body, it's taking away the remedies and allowing the body to actually do its own work. So you kind of get the person off the remedy and that cycle,
Mm-hmm.
and they become more healthy once their body takes over the process.
Which,
Go ahead.
well, that seems to make a lot more sense than being having a prescription to antidepressants for the rest of your life, right? Which are going to impact on your organs, and because they have to filter that stuff.
Well, it takes energy, right?
Yeah.
What I find fascinating is you said, the first step is you force the body to react. So that would make one think that, okay, it's getting worse. Why would we force the body to react?
Because it's not reacting. if you have, if you're an asthmatic, your lungs aren't functioning. You're not getting the oxygen.
Oh, okay.
So what we want to do is push the body with the remedy, allow it to react back, push it again. Each time you do that, you're gaining more response in the body.
So when you say push it back, you're talking about pushing the lungs to work?
Very subtle things. Pushing the lungs to work so the lungs push back. And when it does, it gives us all sorts of other... Lungs don't work by themselves.
Okay.
The brain does not work by itself.
Okay.
It needs everything else coordinated to function properly.
So is it possible, Dennis, that when you do that, things get worse at first?
They have to.
Okay.
What do they call it?
That's a response, but they'll never get worse than that individual's had before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they, again, if I push somebody and they respond back, it's never going to be any worse. They already know. They already know what it is to have this. It's something that they know, and that's why I say don't change anything, because if that person gets that response back, they'll go and take their medication, which will calm it down.
Yes.
They'll go run. They'll go
do whatever they've done in the past.
Right.
Okay.
And that's how they've learned how to survive.
But again, that's just a symptom approach. That's a Band-Aid approach.
It's okay, because over time, those Band-Aid approaches, those things that we use to survive, start to go away.
Okay.
Because you don't need them anymore.
Okay. Okay.
The symptoms aren't there as much.
So, but it's good to know that when we come to see you, that things might get worse before they get better, and that's not necessarily a bad sign. That's actually can be a very good sign.
What I'm looking
for.
What do they call that? A healing crisis?
It's just a symptom response.
Okay. It's almost like it sounds like what you're doing with the homeopathy is you're, in a sense, you're exercising the muscles of the body to be healthy.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely. It is about getting the inner part of our body exercising again.
Yeah.
Now, isn't that, in essence, what vaccines are supposed to do as well? When you get a flu vaccine, isn't it supposed to kind of force, as you say, force you to get a little bit of a flu, and then the antibodies build up? Isn't that kind of the same kind of like attracts like, or am I off?
I think I don't know exactly how the vaccines work.
Okay.
I know that they're there to add something that the body doesn't need to take care of. And the same with any medication.
Okay.
All the medication's doing is taking the place of what the body should naturally be doing.
So it's like a crutch almost.
Of course.
So whereas it's a crutch that you come to depend on, in this case, what you're doing is it's more like physiotherapy or something, where you're actually exercising the muscle
your own body.
to so that it doesn't need to rely on the crutch of medication or the crutch of even a homeopathic
and
remedy.
Again, it doesn't matter whether it's a physical side or a mental emotion. They're the same things.
So basically, it's just that
it's a workout. It's like a workout.
If you've got a problem, it could be physical. You might call it physical, you might call it mental, but it's just some kind of imbalance within the body, right?
Right.
So now, so what, if somebody approaches you and you or they have identified a mental health issue, like what does it look like for them to undergo the Cure Me process with you?
Well, if they're coming to me with those types of symptoms, they've tried everything. They're coming to me at the last resource. And I will do the same process because I'm looking for both sides. I'm looking for the mental emotion, but I'm also looking down the road for what that physical side of that individual is going to tell me.
Yeah.
And again, it's more because it takes time, it's more talking to the person and telling them what it is they're feeling, what it is they're going through, and what it is that they're going to go through in the next couple of months. It's very important to allow that individual to trust the fact that I know what I'm saying, and it happens when it happens. And it creates a trust mechanism, right?
Okay. And you build a sort of like a program over 2 years, is that correct? It's kind of
2 years. I'm looking for 5-6 years. But when you get into like the third and fourth year, I'm only seeing you twice a year, once a year. Once every 2 years. Because at that point, I want your body to be doing the work, and you don't need to see me anymore.
It's more maintenance, like like a tune-up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but if somebody's watching this right now, Dennis, and they're thinking, I don't want to wait till I've seen umpteen doctors and psychiatrists or whatever.
Right.
Maybe they want to start, shortcut the process and get started using a homeopathic approach. Like, are you willing to see those people?
Absolutely. I see people with concussion symptoms that they've had them for 10 years. I see, I'm treating people that have gone to war, come back,
Wow.
and are now in...
Like post-traumatic stress?
Exactly.
Okay.
And also accidents, the victims, anybody that's been in any kind of cause and effect,
Okay.
that they've hit their head, done damage to any kind of process, those are the people that I'll see for sure.
How
Yeah.
about people who are grieving over the loss of somebody? Do you see people like that?
Everybody grieves.
Okay.
It's normal.
Okay.
They should grieve. It's
But can
when-
you help them homeopathically with kind of calming?
Not short term. I
Okay.
don't touch people with,
Okay,
because
okay.
that's a process of learning.
Okay.
If it extends into 2 and 3 years, then that's a completely different picture.
Okay.
Okay. Natural grieving is a wonderful thing, but it's also a very hard thing.
So what if somebody just feels great and they say, I just want to go for maintenance. I just want to do that. Do you see those people as well?
Again,
Okay.
like I was saying in the last video, people are preparing. A lot of people are
Yes.
coming to me now
That's great.
with retirement in mind and saying, well, I better prepare myself for it physically. Makes
Yeah.
sense. Because a lot of people are going traveling.
Yeah.
And as they're traveling, the cause and effect of their life is going to expand.
For sure.
You know.
Wow.
And
And a
why
lot,
not
and
have
a lot
that?
of people, you work so hard during your life, and when it's time to retire, you're not well enough to enjoy it.
That's right.
They take care
What
of
good
everything.
is that?
There's no point. Everybody's so busy focusing on, the financial back stuff, but they don't focus on themselves. And it's, maybe they'll have the finances to do things, but if they're not well enough, they can't do them.
Yeah.
So that's really, really preventive. So it's good as prevention as well.
Yeah. And again, with mental emotional, it's people that are really suffered a long time that come and see me, and or have some sort of a diagnosis, and they're tired of medication.
Yeah.
Most of us won't admit that we have any kind of a mental emotional issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. I constantly tell myself I'm crazy, and I'm good with it.
We're good with it here too at that channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always
It's
so
okay.
It's always
It's
so
okay.
informative. Just a quick question. I think I may have asked in the last video, but I can't remember. So maybe I need to come to see you for memory things. But diabetes. So many people have diabetes now, and it's so reversible. I'm talking about adult diabetes. That's mostly related to diet. Can you help? Do you work with people on that who have had diabetes for years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it didn't just show up. It's usually related to, again, all organs need to communicate. Digestion needs to be addressed. Underlying on a diabetic will be digestive issues.
Ah, okay.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Amazing.
Okay, so Dennis, if somebody is out there and they're resonating with this, and maybe they're just sick of being sick, and sick and tired of being sick and tired, what is the best? How can they get in touch with you?
Best way is through my website, www.cureme.ca.
And what does
Okay.
the cure stand for? Does it stand for?
Each letter stands for a stage in the process of recovery.
And we know that ME is the mental emotional.
Yes, mind emotion.
Mind emotion.
Can
yeah.
we say what the CURE stands
Yes,
for?
Catalyst, utilization, the R. I've just lost the R. Resolution and evolution, basically.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Wow.
Cureme.ca. All right, Dennis, thanks for doing this again.
Thank you.
And look forward
Wow.
to having you back.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so we're going to take a little break now.
Okay.
George Meanwell is here, and we've got a video from his album, the Easy Straight. So we're going to check that out right now and come back with George right after this as Liquid Lunch continues.
1, 2.
A station by a railroad track, train that's never coming back. I hold a ticket in my hand.